Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Motivate Me 313's podcast. Looking forward to another great show today. Today's topic is all about faith in action, Muslims who are making a difference. Our guest for today is Yousef Bazzi. Can you please give the guest a round of applause? Yousef T. Appreciate him. He's in the building today, man. He got so much to talk about, so much to discuss, doing so much great work in the community. I can't wait for him to, for you all to hear what he has to say. Looking forward to the conversation. But before we do any of that, be sure to follow us on all of our socials. We have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Apple and Spotify podcasts, all under ozmedia. You can find all those channels on our website at ozmedia313.com. Shout out to the sponsors of this show: Hanley International Academy, Holy Bowly, Royal Kabob, Malek Al-Kabob, Wing Fellas, Juice Box, and Jabal Coffee House. We appreciate all of them and their support. Yousef T, let's start off with Wing Fellas, and then we're going to officially get the show rolling. So shout out to the Wing Fellas. Do you know what goes perfect with the big game or your favorite TV show? Some deliciously tender wings from Wing Fellas. Wing Fellas restaurant is home to the best wings in Michigan. With over 20 different sauces and seasonings to choose from, you can make sure every wing order you make caters to your taste buds. They have 7 different locations in Michigan. They have a location in Dearborn, Southfield, Detroit, Belleville, Wyandotte, Flint, and Taylor. So no matter where you are at in the state, Wing Fellas is your one-stop shop for some fall-off-the-bone wings. Also, be sure to visit them at their website at thewingfellas.com. All right, we're officially back. Like I said, our guest today is Yousef Bazzi, a young fella in the community. I almost don't want to be rude and ask your age, but I feel like this is a good thing for people to share just so they can know what kind of mindset you have at such a young age. But you can include that with telling us a little bit about yourself and what is it that you do and everything else in between. So go ahead, Yousef, man.
What's up, everyone? My name is Yousef Bazzi, 22 years old. I'm the founder of Purpose Project and the founder of Conceal the World, which is a clothing brand.
I love that. So 22 years old, doing big things. I mean, you probably didn't even start these projects at 22. You probably started this earlier.
19, 18 years old.
19, 18 years old, man. When I was 19, 18 years old, my only worry was getting A's in college. Nothing else. I wasn't too worried about nothing else. You know, I didn't want to worry about anything else. I just wanted to, I went to MSU, the greatest school in Michigan, by the way. I always tell people that. But alhamdulillah for everything, man. A lot of the young fellas these days, they have a business mindset as soon as they graduate out of high school, and that's kind of the trend, and it's a great trend, all right? So you mentioned the Purpose Project. You mentioned Conceal the World. Can you start off with telling us each what they are?
Of course. So Purpose Project is a platform I started out of high school. I realized in our community and society as a whole, the norm was to go to college, or go to high school, graduate, go to college, pursue your undergraduate degree, and then pursue a graduate program. I realized in our community that a lot of people are going into professions that they didn't have a passion for. There's kind of like this stigma that's pressured by our parents with good heart, because, you know, they came from nothing. They want the best for us. They want stability. They want security and safety. And you're kind of pressured to go into like the respected professions, you know, the doctor, lawyer, engineer. I realized that I didn't want to pursue a lifestyle or a profession where I wasn't passionate about. So I went around the community, interviewed different individuals in different fields, and I heard their story, their experience, their journey, why they chose that direct route or career, and what was their passion behind it. And after a few stories, I kind of realized that some of these people weren't, you know, satisfied or content with what they were pursuing. The job was one part of it, but that wasn't their passion in life or their purpose. So I wanted to make sure that I was going to pursue something that, you know, I had full heart in and full passion in, and I was going to succeed at it. So I kind of went around the community, heard different stories, and it kind of shifted my whole, you know, view on life and perspective on life. And then coupling with that, after 2 years, and I honestly can't give you a direct answer of why I started Conceal the World. There was one day where, you know, I was going through like a midlife crisis. I was in my undergraduate and I was pursuing dentistry.
He said a midlife crisis, probably was 20 years old, by the way. I just want to throw that out there.
I was pursuing dentistry, you know, I was blessed to be like an A student. You know, I loved school. I loved learning. I loved education. After 2 years of college, I kind of like sat down. I told myself, like, is dentistry really what I want to do? I had worked at a dental office as an assistant with my brother-in-law. And I had an interest for it, but at the same time, like, it wasn't my passion. So there was one day where, like, I was really down bad. So I stepped on the prayer mat, and after prayer, I went down and, like, in sujood to God, and I asked him, you know, if there's something else that's out there for me, please, give me a sign, give me some guidance, give me an opportunity to see that and pursue it. And subhanAllah, like the week after that, I literally woke up and I told myself, like, you know what, like, I want to start a clothing brand. I looked at the fashion industry, and I have my sister who's also in the fashion industry, and she's very successful at it. And I didn't like the direction it was taking, the commercial hype, the way clothing, like they started making them shortcut,
Tight.
There wasn't like any message behind anything we were wearing. So I sat down. My first few samples of clothing were horrendous. I would never put them out. They weren't too nice. But with time, I think the most important thing is to just start. You don't have to have the whole idea thought out. And with time, it comes together. So I made a first like little promo video, and I made the Instagram account, and that promo video got a little bit of traction. So it was a good starting page for my brand. And with time, just started to develop, and I decided to take it full time recently. I graduated from undergrad, finished everything. The last thing I had left was my DAT, which is a test in order to get into dental school. And it was scary. I took a big leap of faith. But they say, put your trust in God with pure intentions and God at the forefront, and He'll return. So I decided to take that step, and alhamdulillah, like now that I look hindsight, everything's come full circle, and it's been a blessed journey. It's been very nice.
Alhamdulillah, man. Go ahead and give them a round of applause, man. Both of them successful. I love the names too, by the way. The names have obviously, they pretty much tell the story as well. The names of both of the I mean, I don't want to. Are they businesses? Are they called businesses?
Purpose Project is more so like
nonprofit.
It's a nonprofit. It's more of like a podcast platform type thing.
Okay.
Conceal the World, you could call it a business. It's a clothing brand.
I love that, man. So kudos to you, man. Both giving back to the community somehow, some way, and so shout out to you for doing that. So why is that important to you? Why is giving back to the community, involving the community in the work that you do, why is all that so important to you?
So growing up, I was blessed to be a part of the Amity Foundation, which is an organization run by Haji Imo.
Shout out to Haji Imo, friend of the podcast, had him on the show
Great
like a month or two ago.
Great guy. So as youth, we were always at the turkey drives. We were always at any event that he had involved, he would always bring the kids into it. And I always felt like this fulfillness. Like every time I would give back, I felt like there was a part of me that was fulfilled. And it's kind of like a selfish act, like you feel better than the person that's receiving. You're doing an act of service. So throughout my youth, I was always involved in those things. And there was a period of time where, I kind of cut off from doing that. I was focusing on school, and I always had this void in me. And the second I started developing, both my platforms and giving back, that same fulfillment returned to my heart. And I knew that, like God blesses you with so much, and in return you give back. And I think like giving back is more of a reward. And obviously you give back with no intention of receiving. But there were so many instances in my life where I gave more than what I had, and it would come back to me times 10. And, it's just like God's work. It shows you that like once you give, you get.
I can't tell you how important that is that you're saying this, because it's so true. It's 100% true, man. To me, that void, anybody that feels a void, I'm telling you, the best thing you can do is charity work. Rather if it's, monetary, time, even if it's you are educating people on an important thing for the community or whatever, making them a better person, or helping anyone in any circumstance, whatever charity may mean to you, it's what fills those voids.
Of course.
And nothing else, not drugs, not alcohol. It's when you give back, when you give a person, whatever it is that you give, if you give them something, that's the void that it fills, and that kind of what keeps people going. You about to say something?
And I feel like we're so wired to like think that you have to accumulate so much before you give back. Like let me have $1 million first, and then I'll give $1,000 to this charity, or let me get my stuff in order, and then I'll go devote my time to community service. But you realize like at the end of the day that this life is so temporary. Our time is not promised. Death is promised. And you're never gonna reach a point where like you accumulate so much and then you think, okay, I have to give back. It's always like, okay, look, what's next? But I think when you do give back, when you devote some of your time and sacrifice it for something greater good, God will literally give you a head start on life. He'll push you 10 light years ahead of where you were at prior to that. So I feel like you don't have to have it all to give it.
And God knows what you're going through. So
exactly.
Knowing that you don't have it all and you're still dedicating time or money or whatever it may be, that's why, like you said, God will set you up in a way where, it's that step that you probably were afraid to take or needed to take. Next thing you know, It just kind of comes your way, and
Exactly.
it's not a coincidence. So kudos to you, man, for understanding the importance of community at such a young age, and kind of shout out to Emo, man. That's, we talk about leadership, and I think we're going to talk about that today too. But we have these leaders who you don't know the impact that they can have on your life until 10, 15, 20 years down the line. You're saying pretty much inspired you to be where you are today. And so great guy, man. I'm glad I got a chance to meet him, and now we have that networking relationship. But going back to the community part of it, a lot of the work you do is in the Dearborn area, Dearborn community. So what does Dearborn, the city, mean to you?
Dearborn to me is home. It's family. I love the close-knit community. You go anywhere into Dearborn, you see people, family, relatives, and everyone supports you. A lot of people sometimes, like, they'll have something bad to say about it. There's always negative everywhere you go. But I think the environment you surround yourself with is the most important thing. And you just got to look at the positive light. I mean, both platforms that I started, every time I started, the first people supporting me were people from Dearborn. And then it grew outwards into different states, internationally, different communities. But Dearborn to me is home. Born and raised there. I can't see myself ever leaving Dearborn. I'm a Dearborn guy at heart, and we're just blessed to be surrounded by people who are like-minded. Along with diversity, there's people of different ethnicities and races that live in Dearborn, but that community is unmatched.
It's funny because I always like to clump Hamtramck, Detroit, Dearborn, even Dearborn Heights, because a lot of us in the area, we view those as like 4 different cities or 4 different communities. But I always look big picture, how the world or even the country may view this area, which is all one people. They're all Muslim Arabs down there in that southeast region, Detroit area, of Michigan. So, to me, they all are very similar in that when you actually talk to people, a lot of people feel the same way about when you talk to someone from Hamtramck, Detroit, Dearborn Heights, Dearborn. So that we all share the same kind of relationship with the cities that we grew up in, and I couldn't agree with you more, man, because that family bond that you kind of feel in this city, you feel safe.
100%.
You feel safe. You feel like you're at home. You feel like that your neighbors are your brothers and sisters, and that's exactly what you want to be when you grow up. And when you have kids, I have 2 daughters. That's the kind of mindset you want to have. Is, hey, are they living in an area where you feel like that they are going to grow up and understand who they are as people, and how they should carry themselves, and this is the right area.
Absolutely.
To have them growing up in, man. So I agree. It's always good to hear that answer, though. I always wanted to hear how you feel about Dearborn. So going back to that, though, let's shift it over to like some pressing needs in our community, okay? So what are some pressing needs that you feel like as Muslims we can do a better job addressing, and then how can individuals and organizations work together to address those needs?
I feel like growing up, it was always weird to be close to your religion. Like in high school, if you didn't drink or if you didn't smoke, you were such a good guy. You were an outcast. But if you did those things, it was kind of normal and accepted. Or even like if you're at a hangout and you want to get up and pray, like, oh wow, this guy's getting up to pray at prayer time. It was kind of looked at as weird. And I feel like there's a really nice shift like recently in our community, considering everything going on in like Palestine and Lebanon. It reminds you of how temporary this life is, and that like you need to turn to God before you return to him. So I feel like, and I don't have a lot of like bad things to say about this community, but obviously there's always things we can work on, challenges and problems that, we can
Every
address.
community.
Everyone, yeah. The one thing I would say is that like to kind of normalize that like it's okay to be like faithful to God, it's not embarrassing. You don't have to feel like uncomfortable to get up and pray while all your boys are sitting watching football, or if you don't drink and smoke and all your boys are doing it, that's okay. You don't got to do that. Be the outcast, stay true to yourself, stay true to your principles, your values and morals. You don't got to fit in, I think that like for like the youth, I think that's the most important thing. That's something I struggled with firsthand. I'm thankful and blessed that, I never went down that route, but I kind of like sometimes would feel uncomfortable to get up and pray because the people around me weren't doing it. And I feel like we're all dependent on one independent source. Like, who is this guy, like, for me to feel uncomfortable in front of to go pray to my Lord, Like, we're all reporting to one person at the end of the day, and that's, like, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I feel like kind of instilling that and letting them know, like, do you stay on the right path? We're blessed to grow up in households that God has instilled within us from a young age. You shouldn't feel uncomfortable, like, weird to get up and do things that are a little, against the norm.
I love that, man. I love that. And then kind of that two-part fold to that is how can other people help and assist with that, like as a community or even organizations. I mean, I don't know if organizations can specifically help with that situation, but how can we as a community do a better job supporting those individuals who are quote unquote going against the norm of the society nowadays?
Yeah, of course. Like I already see right now in the community, like some coffee shops are inserting prayer, areas into their coffee shops. You're studying all day at the hood time, at Maghrib time, go and pray and then go back to your studying instead of, it being inconvenient to go drive home and then go drive back there. I feel like implementing that, like, and obviously there's people of different faiths and religions within our community that, reside in it.
Yeah.
It's not only towards like Muslims, Christians, whoever else, whatever faith you possess.
Yeah.
Having like, that designated areas of reflection and prayer and public spaces, I think we'll kind of implement that normality. We're like, okay, it's not weird to get up and pray. It's literally in a coffee shop, it's in a restaurant, it's at the movie theaters. I think like through business, that can be implemented, very well.
I love
effectively.
I love that, man. Go ahead and give this guy right here, man, 22-year-old Yousef Bazzi. Round of applause. We're going to take a quick ad break, Yousef. We're going to give a shout out to Jabal Coffee House, one of those amazing places, coffee places that I mean, I don't know if they have a specific place, but I'm sure they'll close out a room for you to go pray at any time. Shout out to Jabal Coffee House, and then we'll keep things rolling, all right? So shout out to Jabal. Jabal Coffee House offers all of their customers an elevated coffee experience. If you stop by any of their locations, you will see a coffee house with a luxurious design, innovative spaces to meet with your friends, as well as exceptional service. They offer the best premium Yemeni coffee and quality crafted drinks. You can try their fan favorite, the Adeni tea, iced Jabal latte, or any of their refreshers and matchas. Also, don't forget to add one of their delicious pastries or desserts to go with your drinks, which we guarantee will satisfy that sweet tooth. They currently have a location in West Dearborn, with locations coming to North Carolina, Illinois, Florida, Ontario, and California. You can visit their website at jabalcoffeehouse.com or download the Jabal app, available on all your smartphone devices. So again, shout out to Yousef Bazzi. He is our guest for today, and I've seen you collaborate with a lot of different people over time with some of the work that you've been doing, and that's great. How do you go about that process of that collaboration, and why is it important to collaborate with other communities or other people who kind of share the same kind of mindset that you have in order to spread that positive message of, hey, let's move forward, let's be better people, let's work together as a community. So what's that process like of collaboration, and why is that important to you?
Of course, like starting off with my business and with any business, you're always chasing the money. You want to be successful. How much can I make? How quick can I make it? What do I have to do to make that money? In the beginning, that was my mindset, and I'll be completely honest with you. My intention was, let me spread purpose, of course, with God at the forefront. But in return, let me reward myself. I need to be financially stable, support my family, When it comes down to collaborations, my first one was with Haji Imo, and I'm actually wearing the hoodie right now. We just restocked this one.
What does that say, by the way? Can you read it off to us?
And behold, with every hardship comes ease.
I love it.
Our first ever drop was dedicated to Palestine, and the sleeve had this logo right over here, but with the Palestinian flag. In 22 hours, we sold out completely, and we were able to donate $40,000 to Palestine.
MashaAllah.
This year,
man, that definitely can't just run by that one without a run. For 40,000, mashallah, that's a lot.
Alhamdulillah. This year, we dedicated it to Lebanon. So our intention was to do. So I was gonna have drops throughout the year, and every Ramadan, I was gonna have a charity drop dedicated to giving back to the people in need. Last year we did Palestine. This year, because of the pressuring demands of them needing help overseas, we decided to do it a little earlier. In this hoodie we restocked it, but we just made this edition and did a Lebanon flag instead. Alhamdulillah, it's been going well. This campaign just got launched last week. We had a pop-up on Friday, launched on the website on Wednesday, and it's been doing well. This one will also be donated as well to the people of Lebanon. So I feel like with collaborations, personally, when I collab with somebody, I look past their business, I look past their title, what they have to provide, their platform. I look at their character. If it's somebody who's like-minded, somebody who upholds good morals and standards, that's somebody I want to work with. Because at the end of the day, the business might be like Nike, but who's running Nike behind it? And it's that guy. So I look at the character. Those are kind of the people that I choose to collaborate with. I also have one in the works with a business in Dearborn that will be announced soon. I look at the character of that guy. He's somebody, who's very faithful to God, great father, great man in the community, does business in an honest way. Those are the kind of people I want to collaborate with. I look past, the numbers. I look past what clout they have to bring to the table, how quick it's going to spread. I think it's important to look down to at the person representing the business before you look at the business. The person brings value to the title. Title doesn't bring value to you.
My man speaking, like, see, you hear this, Yousef, man, mashallah, speaking like a true, mature young man, and I love that. That's how it is. Like, at the end of the day, it's sometimes it's the people behind the business that really, is why the business is going the way that it is. It's people try to put 1 + 1 together. Why did this work out? Why did this work out? I think a lot of it has to do with who the person that is running the show. They're the ones. People believe in bad karma, good karma. It's real. And so people who are organizing and making those things happen, I think that's the best way of doing it. Sometimes it's not the brand, it's the person behind the brand.
100%.
And that's why a lot of people support what's going on is because of the person who is running the brand.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so I definitely agree with that, man. And now we're going back to that role models thing. So, and this is such an important question to me because I'm going to be honest with you. I think overall we lack good role models. I really do. I think that when I say good role models is they have to check so many boxes. And a lot of people don't check all those boxes. I had Haj Emo here on the show, and he said that the only person, if they were to tell me to pick 5 people to speak on the behalf of our community, he'll pick Mayor Abdullah Hamoud, Mayor Abdullah Hamoud, Mayor Abdullah Hamoud, Mayor Abdullah Hamoud, Mayor Abdullah Hamoud. And I laughed, but I was like, man, you ain't lying. For sure, that's a great role model to me. I think Haj Emo, great guy.
100%.
The list kind of dwindles down. There's some good people to look up to, but they have flaws that make you wonder, are they a great role model? So can you tell me some great role models that you think have done some great contributions to our community, and maybe even talk about why is it that we're having a hard time finding some great role models in our community?
Of course, as far as role models, for me personally, and no offense to any person in the community, I look up to the Islamic scriptures and figures and
that's what we're supposed to look up to.
Yeah, I feel like they deserve that title of role model.
Yes.
As far as mentors, I think we have great people in the community who personally have impacted my life in ways that if they weren't in it, I don't think I'd be where I am today. Haji Emo is one of them for sure. I developed a really close relationship with him. I went to school with his daughters. He went from Ammo to I call him Emo now. He's my best friend.
Yeah.
He's like a brother to me. He looks out for me. I look out for him. And, he's always involving me in different, campaigns and stuff like that. So Haji Emo's a great role model. And I'm blessed to have my brother Ahmad. This kind of goes back to pursuing what's, your passion. My brother Ahmad grew up, he did his thing when he was younger. Everyone, kind of messed up, did whatever. He went to law school, and he left law school to pursue his Islamic studies in Iran. He's in Iran right now. So, a lot of my faithfulness is kind of derived from him. He kind of pulled us out of our environments, stuck us by his side, taught me how to pray, taught me what the Fatiha was. Didn't know what any of those things were. And he's always after us, just implementing religion in a way where it makes me love God. Sometimes you feel so robotic and routine when your parents tell you go pray, get up, go pray. You develop a hate for it, Yeah. I don't feel like doing this. It's annoying. It's out of the way, I don't got time for this. But when you by yourself, discover religion as a whole, and you develop this kind of love for it that I need this. I don't feel good when I don't pray.
Yep.
If I miss a prayer, I feel so off. I feel empty. I feel like something's wrong with me. Second I step in the prayer mat and I don't like to look at it as a checklist, but it's kind of like a checkpoint. Okay, you're on this earth. Devote 5 times to God. Go back to what you're doing.
Yep.
It's not gonna.
You can go about your day now.
Exactly. It's not gonna end your life.
Yeah.
So I had my brother Ahmad who took that kind of aspect, and then I had my sister Batul who graduated. Was in nursing school for a month and then left it to pursue her brand. So I kind of get my business from my sister and my father as well, and then my faithfulness from my my brother Ahmad, and that's where Conceal the World comes in hand. I have my business and then the faith aspect of it. They come together. Conceal the World is not an Islamic brand; it's a God-centric and faith brand. But a lot of the messages that I push out are derived from Islamic
teachings,
rulings, and teachings. Yeah. So I feel those coupled together, kind of shape who I became as a person and what route I decided to take in life.
I love that, man. Go ahead and give that a round of applause. But I'm going to have to hit you with a hard question here.
Of course.
So for someone that doesn't have siblings, for someone that maybe is not as faithful mindset, who are they supposed to look up to?
I think when I first started Purpose Project, for example, I was so embarrassed to DM somebody that I saw like so successful and ask them, can I come interview you? Like it took me a while to like get over that, like that goosebump feeling where like, oh, it's kind of embarrassing. I'm reaching out to this guy for help, or even sometimes I'd reach out and DM somebody like for help, like I need some advice on this. Like, and I know you're in this field. Can I ask you about this? I think the most important thing is to, break out of that shell. There's people in the community who like are willing to help you. Like they're literally like, you message them, they'll give you everything they have. I think like breaking out of that shell, reaching out to these people, they'll end up becoming, I have people that literally like I didn't know like 5 years ago and they're brothers to me right now from one message on Instagram or in DM. I slid up to one of their stories. So I feel like breaking out of that shell and like what you said earlier, networking, connecting with people is the biggest thing in life. If I don't have an older brother, I'm gonna reach out to somebody who I look up to, like with the way that their character is and the way they represent themselves, and I'm gonna ask them for advice. And then that can be an older brother to me in 2-3 years. You develop that relationship. So I think like communicating is the most important thing.
I love that. To me, networking, like he said, we kind of talked about it right before the show. You can't put a price tag on it. I don't think you could understand how important it is. Sometimes doors that open that you never thought would open come from the networking, and those doors could be what you do for the rest of your life. It could be, your career path. It could be your passion. It could be your business, whatever it may be. So reach out, like he said, don't be afraid. Send those messages out. I'm not gonna lie to you. I bet you might, I was gonna say all my guests, you might be in that category. Like, I try to stick to a schedule and I try to make sure everyone is, lined up, respectful of everyone's time so I reach out to them and I kind of am persistent. I try to like, okay, just to get the responses, done. And so you got to be persistent. You got to be that person that's not afraid to reach out and get people on the show. I always tell people all the time, like I might reach out to 10 people and get 4 responses. Guess what? You might look at that like that's embarrassing. 6 people, didn't even respond back to you. I look at it like 4 more people than 0 responded back to me.
Exactly. And the worst thing that can happen, like you said, is they don't respond or they say no.
Yeah.
You move on.
Yes. Exactly. So I look at it like it's a win-win for me at the end of the day. So you can't be afraid to. I think it's the fear of failure.
Exactly.
I think that's the biggest thing that has happened over the last few years with myself. And I guarantee if you talk to any successful person, a business person or whoever it may be, is they got over that fear of failure. That you have to understand that that's part of the road to success is failure. And so when you get over that fear of failing, you don't care then. Like now it's like nothing can stop you because really you're the only one that can stop yourself.
Exactly.
That fear is coming from your own brain, your own mindset. So get over that fear and keep it going. So, that's kind of a challenge, right? Next one is challenges. What challenges do Muslims face when trying to give back to their communities and how can we as a community overcome these challenges?
Like you said, that's one of the challenges, like fear of failure. I think when you understand that like what's meant to be will be and that everything is written, and that doesn't mean you sit back and like, okay, like everything's written. I'm going to sit on my couch and if God wants me to be a doctor, I'm going to be a doctor without putting any work in. No, you put in the effort and your destiny's written. What's meant to be will happen. But I think that like if you were to do something and it didn't work out, that's a part of the journey. Like you said, you pivot, you adjust, and then you take that route and then the next best option will come into your way, So I feel like challenges wise, obviously you're going to come across challenges in life, but I think those challenges are meant to be put like as a roadblock. Maybe you need to step back and reflect on what you're doing. Yeah,
no, I love that. You do need to just everyone's going to face a different kind of challenge in life. That's no matter what. That's written, like we say, everything's maktub, everything is written for us. No matter what, you are going to face challenges. You are going to face hardships. And behold, with every hardships comes ease, man. That's what you need to sincerely believe in. And if you do believe in it, and by the way, I didn't just came straight from my head. It worked out perfectly that he's rocking that hoodie. But no, if you really believe in it, just stick to your guns, stick with it, man. And be, like I said, be persistent, be consistent. And inshallah, everything will work out for you in your favor. Yousef, we're gonna run one of our last ad breaks. We're this time gonna give a shout out to Malek Al-Kabob, and then we are rolling down, believe it or not, to the last few questions. So Yousef, we hope to get the best of all what you've already been doing in these last few questions. And shout out to Malek Al-Kabob. Malek Al-Kabob has become noted as one of the best Middle Eastern restaurants in the Metro Detroit area. The restaurant has become a popular destination for visitors and is always full of satisfied locals who are proud to invite their guests to taste real Middle Eastern food. With options like shish platters, shawarma plates, shawarma sandwiches, lamb chops, fattoush, and tabbouleh salads, you can never go wrong when you choose to eat at Malek Al-Kabob. They currently have 3 locations, West Dearborn, Taylor, and Trenton. Be sure to stop by Malek Al-Kabob to satisfy all of your Middle Eastern cravings. You can also visit them at their website, malekkabob.com. All right. So shout out to Yousef Bazzi, man. You know what's funny? Quick story. I'm gonna have to do this story. All right. So, you know, growing up, like I said, we were born in Detroit. We moved to Hamtramck our whole lives, and then I recently moved here when COVID hit. We moved out here in this area. So the funny thing is you know, in Hamtramck, the thing is that, man, Dearborn has a lot of Bazzies. That was like the one thing that we used to always know. And now that I live here, I'd be like, okay, I mean, it's funny and all, but you know, you kind of learn more about the community and all. But you're my first Bazzi interview.
Nice.
So, you know, congratulations, man.
Thank you, man.
You know what I'm saying? This is the first one. So how can we encourage, you know, the big thing is we love to encourage the youth. You know, a lot of the stuff that we do on this show is about the youth or with the youth. So how can we encourage more young Muslims to get involved in community service? And then what role do you think that the youth can play in shaping the future?
So as far as community service, I think just going to your first event or your first volunteering event will set up, you know, that pathway to continue it. Our part in getting people involved, and I mean, I don't like to give advice because I'm no better than anyone else. You know, sometimes I fall off too, and sometimes I don't feel like going to these events. I don't feel like doing this or that. But you know, dedicating or sacrificing, you can call it a sacrifice, but it's a blessing in disguise, you know. Dedicating some time throughout your week or your day to, you know, devote 1 hour to giving back. Even if that's holding a door for somebody, that's an act of community service. You do a lot of things throughout your day that you don't realize that, like, okay, like this is an act of service. You don't have to go to an event from 4 to 8 o'clock and give back, you know, to call that community service or volunteering hours. Opening the door, saying thank you, saying please, smiling at somebody, you know. If you see an old lady putting groceries in her car, go help her out, ask her if she needs help. Those little things are community service. And maybe people might not see you doing that. At the end of the day, you know, God's seeing that, and in your heart, you feel that. So I feel like those little things couple into like leading you towards, you know, a bigger act of service.
I think people sleep on positive reinforcement. Really, just positivity is what, to me, community service kind of revolves around, right? Like, how are you spreading positivity? Like you said, something simple as helping an elder, you know, putting groceries in their car or opening the door for someone. But positive reinforcement, man, like, I don't think you understand the importance of it. Depending on your role of who you are as a person, you could be a big brother, you could be a business owner, you could be a community, you know, just a neighbor. But giving those people, you know, affirmative action, like those you know, affirmations, words where you are being positive can have such a strong impact on a person. And so don't be afraid to use positive words to people. You know, someone may have messed up. Say something nice. It's okay. You know, you'll get it next time. I'm not gonna lie, I'm speaking from my experience. Like, that means so much to me
100%.
as a person.
It changes the way you feel.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And that's a form of charity, by the way. I'm saying this because it's also a form of charity, saying kind words to people, you know, educating people. These are things that you can do on a daily basis. You don't even know that you're doing it and that it's actually being jotted down as charity in a way, but it is.
And I have like a personal experience, and like it sounds so cliche and it sounds so simple, you know, like so minimal. Me and my buddy were walking a couple months back down a plaza, and my old barber was sitting outside with a couple of his friends. I went to shake my barber's hand, and then the 3 guys he was with, I also, you know, shook their hands. Me and my buddy. And then we walked by, and we were at a restaurant, you know, and it had an outdoor patio, so these guys could see us walking around. One of the older guys got up and walked around, and then he looked at us, and the owner of the restaurant was behind us. And he told the owner, he thought we were asking for a job. We were just talking to the owner. I ended up knowing the owner. He said, if these guys are looking for a job, hire them right now. And then like we were confused. And he's like, in the past 10 years, I've never saw like young individuals come and shake the hand of somebody they knew and then shake everyone else around them. Just that little thing. And like he was so happy about it. He's like, I love like I love that you guys are bold enough, and respectful enough to shake everyone's hand in, that environment, and not just one person, Because a lot of times, like, you'll go up to a group of people, that one guy, you shake his hand, and you disregard everyone else. But that little, like, act of respect and, like, little act of service, you can call that community service. That guy was so happy when he walked away. And also, I felt great, after hearing that. I'm like, wow, like, I literally just shook this guy's hand. I didn't think anything about it. I told him, Salaam alaikum, how are you? That's it.
Yeah.
Like, those little things, like, literally will take you a long way in life.
You made his day, and then he ended up making your day with that
It made me look
positive.
great in front of, everyone. It was nice.
And just words, but pretty much.
Yeah, 2-second interaction.
2-second interaction make all the difference, man. So don't be afraid to do these. I don't want to call them minor, but things that anyone can do that can shape the way someone views their day, and who knows, their week, and might be their month, and just maybe how they view life in general for the rest of their life, man. So it's very simple. And I mean, that's kind of what the talk about is today. That's why we're talking about this is, Muslims making a difference with faith in action and a kind of community work. So future, what do you see in the future when it comes to our community and giving back and in charity and servicing our community? And so, and how can we encourage more people to give back?
Future-wise, I see so much positive light. Every time I need somebody, and I see it around me as well, you pick up the phone, you call somebody, it's taken care of. I feel like everyone looks out for each other here. You need a plumber. This guy's cousin's a plumber. He's going to call him. He's going to come to your house. You need something with the city. You have somebody in there who, is a relative that will come take care of you. Or whatever it is. I feel like in this community, like, the fact that it's so close-knit makes it... That's what brings the safety, and the family, like, environment around it. So I feel like for the future, like, I have, like, literally no complaints. I have no pressing, like, needs. I know you asked about the pressing needs. I try to only see the positive, but I mean, honestly, like, for the future, I see nothing but positivity.
I love that. Man. Go ahead and give that a round of applause, Yousef T. I agree. Listen, people like to nitpick, right? We are that's kind of the society that we live in now, right? We like to find the smallest thing and try to make it a big thing. Overall, I think our community is moving in the right direction. I think, I love Hamtramck Smear too. I know people have their opinions on it. I know him. I work with the guy personally. He's a great guy as well. Dearborn Mayor. I don't know too much about Dearborn Heights Mayor, but, people have great things to say about him as well. I think, we are starting to get people in positions of leadership. We're starting to get the youth now who are making moves in the community. I'm sorry, I don't know if you think this, but you're still considered the youth, my guy. I don't know. Yeah. You gave me that look like, I don't know if I'm that young still.
I'll take it, bro.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, heck, I'm still considered the youth to a lot of the people as well. And so, ultimately, it's kind of like you have that base of the youth that are starting to make moves. You have that present of, we're starting to get leaders and, people in leadership positions. So the formula is starting to come together. Obviously everything takes time, but I think we are taking the right steps and making the right steps forward. And I think people now, like you said, with what's going on in Palestine, Lebanon, all the countries in the Middle East have something going on. I think it's making us, who are in this area realize, like, there's a bigger picture out there.
We woke up.
Yeah, we woke up. Yeah. And sad as it is that stuff had to happen like this for us to wake up. But, in reality, that's kind of what happens. That's unfortunately, like we say, everything is maktub, right? So as long as we're waking up, that's the most important thing right now at this point. And so I'm very happy that we are hopefully moving forward as a community. And we're going to continue to have these conversations, rather if it's through the Purpose Project, with us or whoever it may be. We got to have these conversations so that we can continue to move forward and shed light on a lot of the stuff that's happening in our communities, and that we be those voices for the voiceless. That's kind of the mindset, inshallah, man. So we're going to get the final words, final comments. Before we do that, again, I want to say be sure to follow us on all of our socials: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Apple, and Spotify podcasts, all under ozmedia. You can find all those platforms on our website at ozmedia313.com. Shout out to the sponsors of the show: Hanley International Academy, Holy Boldy, Juice Box, Wing Fellas, Royal Kabob, Malek Al-Kabob, and Jabal Coffee House. We appreciate them and their support. Shout out to Yousef Bazzi, man. And when you do say your final word, make sure you include how people can follow all your socials. Make sure you include how people can find the brands that you have and all the clothes that you have out there, and what's the next pop-up shop, whatever it is that you want to mention. So the microphone's on you, Yousef. Any final words, final comments, man?
If there's one piece of advice I'd give to anyone watching this, especially the youth, it's to just start. You know, you're never going to have everything figured out, and it's okay to, you know, change and pivot your route in life. Pursue your passion, follow your heart, have God and pure intentions at the forefront, and I promise you, I can almost guarantee you that success will always follow. Just make sure you're on the right path, do what's right, and everything will come into place. You know, you don't have to have the whole entire plan figured out. One step at a time, and everything will come, you know, full circle.
MashaAllah. Wise wisdom from a 22-year-old man right here, man. Listen, it makes me proud, man. I'm being honest with you. 22 years old, speaking like this, man. MashaAllah. Kudos to your family. Kudos to everyone that helped you kind of get to where you are, and kudos to you, obviously, yourself. I got to give yourself credit as well for that, for the hard work, because I know this didn't just come overnight, man. These responses, everything that you're kind of the way you carry yourself, it's not something that just happens overnight. I know it's a long time coming kind of thing, and you know, I could only see, you know, even better things, inshallah, in the future, man. How can people follow you? Where can people find your brand, man?
We're on Instagram, Conceal the World, along with Purpose Project. We have a website, concealtheworld.com. We recently launched these hoodies, like I've said. They're available on the website right now. We have a lot of collaborations coming up soon, a lot of drops, a lot of pop-ups planned. So, you know, we're going with the flow, and we're gonna try to do good with it.
Be on the lookout. All right, this guy right here, Yousef Bazzi. You know, y'all gonna be like, oh man, I remember he was on the ozmedia podcast show. Just don't forget about us, Yousef, man. You know
Never,
what I'm saying? We still here. You know, we gonna be here. You know what I'm
We're
saying?
one of the same, bro. You're my brother.
Man, I appreciate it, man. But with that said, we hope that you enjoyed this episode. Again, this was another episode of Motivate Me 313's podcast, Faith in Action, Muslims Making a Difference in Their Communities. Yousef Bazzi, Omar T. We hope that you enjoy this episode, and we'll see you all next time. Have a great rest of your day.